Let's see. Yo, what's up? I'm trying to post about this right now. Hold up. Yo, what is up? It occurs to me that I haven't even posted about this. Hold up. Let's hang out, post. What's going on? What's the new video? Oh, that's a great question. I posted it 2 days ago. It's called I rebuilt my totaled car. Basically the repair video. The car is pretty much completely repaired. I don't have an easy way to show the side of it. But finally got basically the entire quarter panel repaired, and it just needs to be painted. What's up? So yeah, car is finally repaired after a whole year of working on it or stressing about working on it. So big deal for me. But it should be like the newest one on the channel. If it's not the newest one, then I don't know who's been uploading on my channel. Oh, yeah. Okay, so paint is actually not next because I'm not doing things the right way. I'm a little burnt out on body work. So I'm kind of taking a break and just like wrenching on the car. So, okay, this is like a sneak peek, but car is in a completely different shape compared to what it was at the end of that video. So there's like a lot of engine work that I'm doing, and then I'm partially done with getting the supercharger kit on it. So those are gonna come out first before I paint the car, just because I didn't want to do a lot more body work immediately, if that makes sense. I know the ideal thing would be, repair the car and then go and paint the car, but I really was itching to just pull the engine and do a lot of like engine work. So like the engine has been out of the car for a month now, and then I've already got a couple of things on it. Again, this is all like early sneak peeks. I still have like a lot of these videos to actually edit together. But painting, I figure will take a few weeks to get around to, just because I need to kick out all of these videos. Do you have any plans about body kits? Not really. The only ones I've been kind of thinking about, I'm trying to keep the car looking a little tame because I think it'd be kind of fun if it's boosted, but also, is doesn't look the part. So it'd be kind of cool if it's just like stock bumper, stock body, and everything. But then it's like, oh shit, like there's stuff under the hood. But I did kind of try to get like a Mazda speed lip. I thought that'd be kind of clean, just like something like that. But that's kind of, yeah, basically I'm trying to describe a sleeper. Yeah. Hoping to one day start making videos on my Miata journey. Hell yeah. What is your camera setup? Let me grab it. So at the end of the day, it's actually pretty simple. And I will preface this with you don't need to buy fancy gear. I just have a camera and a wireless mic. This is a Canon R6. It's a fancy camera from a few years ago, but really you can get by, I imagine, with like any like $400 or $500 camera. And I'm literally just using like the stock lens or like the kit lens that comes on it. I've tried using a fancy lens before, and it just doesn't work for my needs. But yeah, this is a mirrorless. I don't really know if it makes a huge difference. I know it does a little bit in weight, but yeah, this is a Canon R6, the first generation with the kit lens. And I like this because it's lightweight compared to like a really nice lens. And it also has a really good zoom, 24-105. So like when you're doing car stuff and if you're recording by yourself, you need as much flexibility as you can get. And trying to like be under the car or something and realize I need to keep swapping out lenses or something is really like impractical. So I just go for like the kit lens, and also if I accidentally destroy it, I don't have to worry too much about it. It's not like $1,000 lens. And then this is what I would recommend. Better audio, how do I put this? Work on the audio quality before you do video quality. The biggest difference I ever did for like the quality of my videos is I moved to a wireless mic. I used to actually use like a shotgun mic that was pretty nice, but whenever I'd like, if you look at my old videos, you'll notice whenever I'm like recording like this and talking, my voice is muffled because the mic is pointing the other way. And also if I'm like working under the car and I have the camera like mounted somewhere here, you don't really hear me as well. So what I do with this now pretty religiously is, this is like a DJI mic. I have these like linked in the bottom of my videos. You just have a wireless receiver on one end and then transmitter like clipped onto my shirt. So that way if I'm like under the car, I still have very clean like local audio. But that's kind of what I'd recommend is make sure the audio quality is like pretty clean before video quality. That's what makes the biggest difference. But yeah, I use this for everything. But yeah, I think I missed a couple. Sleeper. Wait, okay, hold on. I'm catching up here. What's up? Hold on, I'm catching up here talking about the equipment. I have a D3300 that I got last year to start photography. In terms of video, it's okay after firmware hack that does 50. Nice. Yeah, I mean, so that's my setup. I try to keep it simple, and the wireless mic is already more complex than I would like it to be, but it helps me a lot. But yeah, focus on audio quality and try and just get it as flexible of a setup as possible. So the wireless mic is huge for me, and then having like a cheap zoom as my main lens is really nice. Also lightweight is made a big difference because I bought a really fancy lens, and it's like I used it for like 2 videos a year ago. It was too tough to use. But honestly, once you got that nailed down, like just focus on like what kind of videos do you want to make about the Miata, or have you like thought about that? 'Cause I'm kind of curious. I would prefer to give advice on like content, 'cause I think that's more like meaningful and goes a longer way. So if you have like, if you know like what you want to work on or you have some ideas, like put in the chat, and like I'd love to like help you out with that. Maybe a banner in the same color as a car for the front windshield would be nice. Sorry for my bad English. Dude, not at all. Like, that's good. From Germany. Wow. Well, hello from Texas. Yeah, maybe. The problem is I'm a little tall, and the windshield is already kind of small in a small car. And so I already like looked through the very top of the car, and I did a filmectomy a few weeks ago. I still looked through like the top. If I put a banner, then it's just like, I'd just be kind of looking like that. So that's kind of like one of the main reasons I don't want to, but who knows. Any progress since the last video, or you didn't touch the car since? Boy, do I have like an update for you. I've recorded like 12 videos since the bodywork was done. Not joking. So yeah, okay, this is a sneak peek. You won't see any of this stuff for like a month because I have a lot of stuff, but this is all a sneak peek. But engine's already been out of the car. It is now back in the car, and there's a lot of nice upgrades in there. In fact, I can kind of give you a little glimpse here. Some shiny stuff in there too. Yeah, it's got an intercooler. It's got a coolant reroute. It's got some color folded bits down there. think that was the main stuff here. But yeah, engine's back in the car. There's been a lot of engine maintenance done, and intercooler and some ducting and modified stuff for the supercharger that's already like starting to partially go in. So to answer your question, any progress? Yeah, a ton. Um, so that's all going to be coming out soon. And I was actually saying earlier, that's why the paint won't be done, or like a video about the painting won't be done for a while, because I did all this work, but I haven't painted it yet. So this stuff has come out first. I see an intercooler. Yep. Do you do both photography and videography, or mainly videos? At this point, it's 100% video, but I like photography was one of my like biggest hobbies for a few years before it. In fact, that's why I got this camera. But mainly, I used to shoot a lot of like film cameras, so I have quite a few old ones. But if you look through like my photo Instagram or my website is like linked in every single video. It's like abi.work. That has a lot of my photo portfolio. So I used to do a lot of like fine art photography, and then studied that for like part of my degree in college. And that's kind of like why my videos have a little bit more of like an artistic touch, is because I'm like drawing from that experience. But yeah, I would say I'm a photographer that accidentally became a videographer. That's the answer. I'm more of an electrical engineering person, so it'd be DIY mods like a coil unplug. Yep, made for the stock ECU. Yeah, hell yeah. So like, what kind of like would you want? Are you trying to make it like how-to videos or like build videos? Like that's what I was kind of wondering about. Yeah, because the angle that you tell the story in, or you make a video in it, is also adds like a lot of interesting flavor. Um, but yeah, that'd be pretty neat to see. I have done a little bit of electrical work. Like I worked with Arduinos and Raspberry Pis and know how to solder, and I've made little stuff, but I'm scared to touch like car wiring, because it's just, I don't know, it just feels more annoying to work on. So I'd be very curious to see that. Looks like your camera has a defect. There's a small purple line in the middle of the screen when you show the engine bay. Probably. I put my gear through a lot of stuff. But that's interesting. No, I'm going to have to check that out. That's cool. I'll check it out. That's awesome. I assume you're talking about the website. Yeah. I've never talked about it in a video, and I would like to find an interesting way to soon. But like, I mean, the whole channel is based on the premise of like, I didn't know the first thing about cars 2 years ago. And so the whole deal is, before that, I was like a musician and photographer, like fine art photographer. And then my day job is as a software engineer. So like basically everything that's on like the complete opposite of like car guy or car work. So that's why I was making the channel. Like it literally is like me coming from like not knowing anything. So there is like, I used to use my own music in my like early videos, and it was like me playing all the instruments, like drums, bass, guitar, and vocals. But I've kind of been transitioning away from that, as I find like higher production music that just kind of fits better. But yeah, I've been wanting to figure out how to like work that into the videos more, where it like makes sense. But there's not that many ways that I've found so far. It's cool. More like project videos. Hell yeah. Do I have any thoughts on that? I'm kind of wondering. Not much, right? Oh man, these are coming in fast. Okay. Project videos. Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool. I will say how-to videos are easier to make higher performing videos, because there's always people searching for stuff. And that's why you'll see that a lot of people who have like a lot of or like a lot of successful YouTubers have figured out how to like engineer some of their titles to kind of capture a lot of that audience that's directly searching for stuff. But then it's like a little bit more than a how-to. But that'd be really cool. Yeah. Um, yeah, I was a huge fan of using my own music. I just liked that the finished product was like me in every way, instead of like some like stock music or something. but it started getting to a point where I just felt like it was holding it back a little. Because I had like 24 songs that I was using. It sounds like a lot, but half of them were made when I was 18, and then half were when I was 22. So I'm 26 now. So those were like slightly older music, especially like there's a couple of videos that have songs of me when I was literally 17. So it's kind of just aged music for me that wasn't fully representative of like what I could do now, and I wanted like higher production quality. Um, any chance to hear some music? Not now, but you can check it out on Spotify. The band is called Indulgent. That's just like my solo project, and I have a couple of albums, I have two and a half albums put out there. Um, whoa. And then yeah, man, I've tried to live stream before off my laptop and it went so bad, so I'm working off my phone and it's worse. Wow. Dude, thank you for the $5. Um, Wandering Robot Studio. Appreciate it, man. It goes a long way. These videos are really expensive. Um, you also have the honor of being the first donator on a stream. I've never done this before. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. The music was really cool. Any chance to hear some music? How did you learn so much? I feel like my knowledge is still surface after 4 years. Um, I tend to just, I don't know. I tend to just go get into rabbit holes. So if I learn about something and it's kind of interesting, I will just get very curious about it and just keep going into it. That coupled with there was a couple of years in high school I didn't really like hang out with people and I just stayed in my bedroom just learning all the time. So that's when I like got really into music and then I got to college and then I got exposed to photography and I was like, that seems cool too. But yeah, it's me as well. YouTube mechanic, no training. Hell yeah. Love how you used to put your own music in the videos. Some of the tracks been playing in my head at random. I love that, dude. I haven't been actively pushing that music in a while anywhere. So I'm glad to hear that. I put a lot of effort into that stuff. Your newness to work on cars is refreshing. 90% of car content creators gives a perspective that assumes we know what we're talking about mechanically. Yeah, I agree. I gotta give a shout out to Matt Armstrong though. That's when I first noticed or like got that idea where I would like he's actually like how I first started learning a lot about the stuff when I like didn't know anything and I was just like living in my little apartment and like I was driving a minivan at the time. And I was watching his stuff and like, you know, it's like rebuilding a Lamborghini like Gallardo or whatever he was doing at the moment. And I was just like mind blown. And every time he got to like a technical thing, he like took the time to stop and pause and like give a quick overview of it. So that went a long way with for me learning. And like a big part of my goal is also just to share as much knowledge as possible. So that's kind of like part of the reason I'm trying to do that. And the other thing is I don't want to like alienate people. Like if I send my videos to my like friends and family, and if they click on it and it's like, all right, guys, like today we're gonna put like the intercooler and I gotta modify my power steering lines. They might not know what an intercooler is. So I always like have my friends and family in mind of like, my friends are gonna be confused. But yeah. Hello. What is up? Um Yeah. What else do y'all want to know? Do you want to talk about the repair or I'll answer any questions of pretty much any kind? Um, let's see what I can talk about because it doesn't have to be car related. I can have fun with this. I can talk about music. I play rock music and I play all the instruments in a rock band. And then I know a lot of film photography. And then we got a lot about Miatas, of course. And then little electronic stuff like Arduino, Raspberry Pi. I know how to program LED strips. That's always fun. Or if you just want to like, I also like love talking about content creation, like especially if there's other people trying to do the same, looking for advice or have ideas or stuff. One of my friends is not a car guy and watches all my videos on his own accord. They're the best friends to have. I agree. And that also means you're probably doing something right if they are not watching it purely out of obligation. I think one of my best like metrics that I've noticed is my best friend's dad watches my videos and will text me about them. Be like, "Hey man, like I saw your video, I loved it. Like that was impressive how you did X, Y, and Z." And I'm like, "Dang, that's cool. That like he's a cool guy, but also the fact that he's like uh sticking around on his own accord, not being a car guy, like that kind of tells me that I've kind of nailed that goal. Commend your dedication to fixing your car when you have no experience. Thank you. Um, I don't know if I'd always recommend it to anyone. It was a very stressful year, not being sure if I could do it, and then just feeling bad whenever I saw like the wrecked car. Um, but it is the most gratifying thing I've ever done. It's up there with like the music I've made that like was a big deal to me at the time. I have a Turbo NB. Hell yeah! What kind of turbo? Are we talking like a Flying Miata or Kraken kit, or like a full custom setup with like a standalone? Because I've actually been going in like deep dives about them recently, and would love to hear more about it. Don't know if you already have this on your to-do list, but you really should sand and polish your headlights to get rid of oxidation. I did that, and now it's back. I used a headlight restoration kit like 2 years ago, and it looks like it didn't hold up at all. So I don't know if that's user error or just like I should have just learned how to do it like properly instead of just buying like a little pre-made kit. But yeah, I have a to-do list that is like 50 things long. W Friend's dad, yeah, he's amazing. Do you plan on picking up any other cars? If not, any cars you're fond of? I would love to, but I don't really have the space for it. But I fantasize about it all the time. Had a couple of ideas. One of them is to try, now that I've like taken my time over 2 years to get familiar with this car, I thought it'd be kind of cool if I could have an opportunity to like do it all again from the start. So like if I can find like a slightly wrecked car that's like selling for cheap but is a working manual, that can at least be worth a few thousand. If I can get it for cheap, then like that would be kind of fun. That'd be fun to just like try and like speed run everything I've learned so far and see how that goes, because everything takes so much time to do it for the first time. It'd be more satisfying if I can just kind of get more in the flow and not have to think about it. So that's one idea, but also like this is my second car. I don't have room for 2 cars. Realistically, I'm kind of making it happen, but 3 cars would be a lot. I would also love to like have an old Cayman, like a 981. But those are still like 30, 40K. What else is out there? I got into RX-8s the other day because I didn't realize they're so dirt cheap. And the suicide doors look really cool. So, but it's mainly like, if you're asking me like what other, in general, also like other cars I'm fond of, love 90s Japanese stuff, love Porsches. Don't really have plans to own any right at the moment because it's not that practical right now. But yeah, T28, man, I asked this question a while ago and you responded immediately, and I'm trying to catch up. Hold up. T28 Kraken manifold ME. Okay, hell yeah. How do you get the standalone tune? Did you learn how to tune it yourself? And if so, why did you choose Mega Squirt? Because I'm kind of curious. I've been looking into it more. Need a stand with 800 and then 2K clear. Yeah, that's exactly what I saw as well. I love this one. You should quit your job and focus on becoming a YouTuber. That'd be fun. I would love to, but it's not practical at the moment. The reason I push my Patreon so hard is YouTube makes me like no money at the moment, and I also spend a lot on it. So it makes no sense right now, but you know, that's why I'm making such a push and trying to make my videos as best as I can. Because that would be the dream right now. But it's not practical at the moment, but it's a goal I'm working towards. Hi, I'm new, and it's my birthday, so can you say happy birthday? Happy birthday! And welcome. Appreciate that you're here. I went to test drive an MX-5, and I've never driven a manual. I struggled to drive it, going from sim with no bite. Yeah, Okay, so what do I want to say about this? I will say it gets better. The first couple of weeks that I drove manual were straight up terrifying because I was just so scared of like stalling at a red light. Um, but you pick it up you pick it up much faster than you think, and it truly does become second nature. It took me a couple of weeks to get comfortable, and then maybe a month total of driving it on the side to for it to become second nature. So I promise it does get better. What's your daily? It is a Tesla Model Y Performance. It's a pretty fun car, but it was like my first like dream car, and then I like actually got into cars, and then I was like, oh, there's a lot of fun cars out there too. But I love that thing. Hey, it's because once you sand and polish, you get rid of any UV. So I used UV protection. The kit came with UV protection as one of the final layers, and I did all of that. And that's why I'm wondering if it was user error and I didn't put it on properly, or like if it went on too thin or something like that. Can you say happy birthday to me with my birthday? No one said hi. I'll say hi again. Happy birthday. I have a remote mapper. It's Motorsport Electronics, so it's not Mega Squirt bases. Best advice I got was get whatever your local mappers know. Yeah, that's what I heard too. But I decided if I do go standalone, I want to learn it myself. It seems like a technical rabbit hole, but it also seems really fun to be like, I know how to program a car. And also, I really want to learn more about the exact specifics of how a car works. So it would be cool to like feel like I went all the way and just learned the whole thing. But yeah, I agree. Like that's the exact advice I've seen as well. Yeah. But I was just asking about Mega Squirt because like I see everyone talk about it, but then every like non-Miata car guy I talk to is like, dude, like find like why Mega Squirt? Like try like X, Y, and Z, try Link or try something else. And so I'm kind of curious for people picking it for themselves, why they're picking it, to kind of like learn about that. Found a body shop to paint your car yet? Yeah, me. I'm gonna try and paint it because why not? I mean, yeah, why not? It'd be fun. It'd be interesting, and you can't really screw it up because if you screw it up, you can just sand it off. It's not like you can like screw it up permanently. So I have a couple ideas. My main plan for it is there is a shop local to me that's like a DIY car shop where like you can rent a lift or you can rent some of their stuff or rent their like space to work. And it's a place that like encourages people to learn how to work on their own cars. And I called and the guy said they have a paint booth. So my plan is to rent the paint booth at like the DIY auto shop and then give it a shot there. Either the kit was trash or it was indeed user error. Never used any of these, so I cannot tell. I'm gonna bet it was user error because I used it like 2 months into work, or 1 or 2 months into working on this car. So it must be user error, but who knows? It was the Sylvania kit, which I saw a lot of good reviews about, so I want to guess it's user error. I did everything by myself, mapping eventually, but here it's over like 220 Canadian for tune. That seems pretty cheap, right? Especially in Canadian. Motorsport Electronics, big in UK. Interesting. I also got a Model Y recently. Great car, but it made me want something mechanical and easy to work on. I agree. I think it's the perfect daily, and it's a perfect like if you get the performance like sporty daily. I love that thing, but it's never ever gonna come close to like a sports car for me. And so that's why I kind of started like growing this itch to like have like a proper mechanical or manual sports car that I can learn on, and that's why I ended up with this thing. Hey, what's up? What I always thought a DIY shop would be cool, so I didn't know they existed. I didn't either until I met another guy who works on and paints his car a lot. Holy shit! Quit your If you quit your job, you'll have 8 more hours every day to work on your car and make videos. Thank you, man. I gotta screenshot that to tell my parents. Thank you. Oh, thank you, dude. That means a lot. Yeah, but the problem right now is, yeah, you can see I did not expect that. I'm like almost dropped my phone there. Yeah, dude, that means a lot. Right now it's less, like, dude, like stuff like that donation. It's like less about the money right now and more about just like gives me motivation of like, okay, people want to see more. Um, but yeah, the problem right now with YouTube is, it's at a point where, how does this phrase go? It doesn't make enough money to be considered a job, but it takes so much time that it can't just be considered a hobby anymore. So I'm kind of at that point where it's clashing so much where it's not practical. The only reason I'm still doing it right now is because I love it and I'm hoping something works out and I want to give that like full effort. Um but like, dude, like YouTube videos make me like $1 per out, less than $1 per probably hour of effort right now. So right, like it's 8 hours in a day, but like I don't know, I probably make 4 to 8 bucks from like those 8 hours. So it's tough, but if I can like start growing the channel more, then it can become practical at some point. So that's why I'm just like going all in as hard as I can to see if I can, consider it a startup cost. Just like you have to put in some money and time in the beginning to see to like get it off its feet, and then before you really start like gauging it as like how much money you're making per like your hour. But yeah, I appreciate that, dude. It means a lot and it goes a long way for this channel. Um, Painted my MX-5 and B-Bump myself. It's on my channel if you want to laugh. I will take a look. Here, I'll screenshot this. I got your username. But yeah, I'll take a look. I'm very curious. I've seen one guy on Reddit who like just posted about it and is like, yeah, it took a month, but got it done, and it came out really good. The only thing about painting that I don't want to do is all the sanding and body work looks so awful. Like I don't want to spend like a week sanding and painting. I just want to wrench on the car or drive it. Wish I could try and do some mechanical stuff on my Civic, but it being my daily, yeah, that's a very valid point. That is also why I love that. That's why I got this as a second car. It really felt like it wasn't practical to work on the main car unless it's like something like an oil change. But even then, like, dude, like you can still screw up with an oil change. Like I did an oil change for the first time on my girlfriend's car a couple months ago. It's a RAV4, and I drained all the oil. And then I go to take the oil filter off, and then I did. They have you have to use a specific tool to remove the oil filter on the RAV4s. It's not just like a normal like removable filter. The canister has a certain tool to open it, and I didn't have it, so I 3D printed one. And like sure enough, the plastic just stripped the first time I used it, and I couldn't open it. But I'd also drained the oil, and then I parked her car without thinking about it at the end of my driveway, so I blocked in both of my cars, and I had no transportation to go and buy the tool at AutoZone. And I got lucky that I was able to like walk to like a part store, but like yeah, like that was like her daily, and now we suddenly couldn't drive it because we messed up an oil change. So you gotta like be careful for sure and think it through. But like I thought about it for a while, and it just made so much more sense to get a second car. And then if you get a second car, uh, it does it again. Like it makes no sense to like buy two cars that are really expensive. So I just bought like I have my expensive car as like my daily, and then I got this as like, I can justify. This is the most price I can justify for like a hobby. Plus consumables are low, but yeah, it gives me a lot of peace of mind that I can just wrench on this car and not worry about it. Like this car did not have an engine in it for the whole previous month. And you can actually see when I filmed the very end of the video when I resprayed the primer, you can actually see the wiring harness just kind of drooping out of the engine bay. I was literally pushing it in and out of my garage every time I need to work outside, and then putting it back in the garage and then just kind of working on it. And then every time I needed a part, which was like every other day, I was just taking like the daily and just driving out to get it. Yeah, it's absolute hell. Definitely try and rent a booth. That's what I'm saying. And that's why I'm not going to paint more than I have to, because the car is not in great condition. It might look like it in the videos, but there's like parts where like in the front bumper especially, the paint on one side is like cracked up quite a bit from some sort of impact before. And I'd love to repaint that bumper, but I don't want to have to put in all that work. Many Japanese cars have awkward oil filter placings. It's a pain sometimes. Interesting. I guess so. On this car, it's pretty like dang annoying. But yeah, it was more so just like the way to open it, you needed a special tool to open it. It wasn't like these where like you have an oil filter housing and if you can't pull it off with your hand, there is a tool meant to help you like grab it easier. It was like, no, you need like a proprietary tool that opens it in a certain way. So that sucked. When are us YouTube peasants gonna see the engine pull-up video? Really soon, actually. What else have I got recorded? Honestly, I'd guess in like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. I haven't started editing it yet, but it is the very next video that I need to edit. So pretty soon. I have a lot. I don't know if you like saw earlier. I filmed like 10 or 12 videos already after the body work. So those are coming out real soon. There's not any work to do there. In fact, like engine went back in a day ago, and I've been doing a lot of work on it since. First time I changed oil in the Civic, I had to ask my dad for help. And yeah, we needed the tool you talked about. Previous owner way over tighten it. Yep. First time I did an oil change, I don't know why, but I thought, I did the transmission oil before I did the engine oil. And that was not fun at all. And it took me like 2 days because I screwed it up so much. And then I didn't have the right socket. And then, because it needed a 24 millimeter. And then I overfilled it. So then I had to buy more fluid. And then I finally got it all back together. And then I did the oil change the next day and then dropped the wrench in the oil. So that was fun. So yeah, my first oil changes took 3 days total because I was so brand new to it. What camera do you use mainly for filming? Canon R6. It's like a few years old. It's a really nice mirrorless camera from that time. And I use it with the kit 24 to 105 millimeter lens. I do use a couple of different lenses once in a while. I have like the cheapest 16 mil that I've been playing with recently. But that's pretty much it. And I also use black mist filters and a what is it called? A polarizer filter on both of them. That's how it kind of gets like a cleaner look. And then the mist filter gives those like highlights, the more hazy look to kind of make it interesting. LOL. Yeah, that was fun. And that's how I started. That was like day one of work on the car. So that should have been a sign that like car work is just going to be really messy the whole way through. Oh, no. I did the oil change 2 years ago. I'm talking about 2 years ago. I've had this car and I've been working on it for 2 years. 2 years. It would be crazy if I pulled the engine a few months after that. Yeah. What is today? November? December? I bought this car in about October, November 2 years ago. So it's been exactly 2 years. In fact, it was Thanksgiving week of 2 years ago that I was doing all that work I was talking about. What vehicle is that behind you? Take one guess. It's my Miata. Might not look like it because it's really going through it, but it's the Miata from all my videos. It's on jack stands, which is why it looks so big. I promise it's a really tiny car. But I'm doing a lot of engine work on it. So engine work and then stuff in the front. Yeah. The car of cars, a Miata. Yeah, it's my entire YouTube channel. It's just this one car. But yeah. It definitely looks really ugly without the bumper though. Like it's such a cute car normally. And then as soon as I took the bumper off, I just looked at it and I was like, oh my God, it looks terrifying. How well does your mini split AC cool down your garage? I'm planning on installing one. Perfectly. It is the best thing ever. I got it like 3 months ago, and I live in the middle of Texas. So I don't know how I've been surviving without one. And I would not have been able to do work in my garage for the past few months if I didn't have it. It would have sucked. I think the very first the first live stream I did a few months ago, I was basically sweating by the end of it. It sucked. That is an intercooler. And in fact, I'll give you all another sneak peek. Just hold on. This will be the new radiator that's gonna go in. And I'll have a video about this. But I got a fancy new cross-flow aluminum radiator that'll go behind that thing. And if you're curious, it's the intercooler that came with the supercharger kit. AC in the garage is nice. Yeah, I know it would. I figured it would be nice, but I didn't expect it to like change. It really just changed the game for me. This became like an actual livable space. It's been 2 years since the first video. Yeah, I think I posted it like end of December that year or January. I think December. But for me, like, you probably saw a lot of my videos that following spring, but for me, I recorded most of them Thanksgiving week. I didn't go to my family or anything. I got invited to my girlfriend's family's place, and I turned that down too because I was so excited about the car. So I just stayed in my driveway for all of Thanksgiving week and just like worked on the car and filmed all those videos. And then posted the first one in like December and then started like ordering all of those or releasing all of those the following year. How many miles on the Miata? 227,000 at the moment. It was 221,000 miles when I bought it. And yeah, I put 6,000 miles the first year, and then once the car got wrecked, I barely touched it in the last year, which has been really sad. So I'm glad I finally like got all that work done, and now I'm like, this car is gonna be souped up. I'm gonna be driving it quite a bit. Use the Focus RS intercooler. Hell yeah. Because I was still kind of so new to cars, I wasn't confident enough to like piece together my own kit yet. At this point I could, but I really needed someone to like hold my hand. So that's why I needed like a kit that came with everything and instructions just so I can get started. But yeah, that would definitely be a way more economical way to go. In Arizona, dude, yeah, that is tough. One of my friends lives there and I visited him, and he lives in Tucson. I was talking to him about the heat, and he was like, oh, dude, in the summer I did nothing. Just laid on the ground because it was so hot, because even the walls were radiating heat. Do I own or do I rent? I own this place now. I used to start making videos. The first few videos were in the backyard of a house I rented. But that's also why I get to like modify this a bit more. Like I put in white like flooring, I put AC in. And it's also why I can probably get away with being noisy in here or noisy outside. Hey, Alive. Yeah, I haven't done it often. I would love to. Yeah. M45. You'd be wrong. It is in fact, let me grab it. It's a Roadtrek supercharger. So if you're not familiar, I bought the Roadtrek supercharger kit from Track Dog Racing. So that's why the intercooler is actually like has the Track Dog logo on it. But if you look that up, you'll kind of pretty much find everything you need to see, or any questions you might have. So it came with the supercharger, the intercooler, every modified piece you need. Like it modifies the radiator brackets to reposition it. So it came with those. Came with a booklet with step-by-step instructions, all the piping. I'm like looking at the stuff. Gauge, wideband, you know, a heat shield. What else is there? Catch can, oil cooler, or like a Rotrex oil cooler, because this takes its own oil. Yeah, it comes with just everything you need. Even like also like the bracket to mount it on, and like the new accessory belt you need to run it. It just comes with like everything you need. Whoa, 227 looks so fresh. Yeah, I don't understand why. Hold on, let me put this away because it's heavy. Yeah, I do not know the story with my car, and I would love to know it. I haven't been able to figure it out. I'm the 8th owner of this car. 8. and it's in and I bought it completely stock. Like there were even the shift knob was stock. Shift knob was stock. Carpets are stock. You know, there wasn't the wheels were stock. Even the tires were like not even like interesting performance tire. Like everything was completely stock on that thing. Um, but it is 8 owners, so I really do not understand the history of it. Um, all I know is that it was wrecked on the exact same side it got wrecked now that I own it. Early on in its life, and actually, if you look at through the videos where I changed out the door, I found out that the old door used to be a green door because that was already a replacement door. So someone wrecked the car on the right, like T-boned it, got a green door, and had it or I guess the body shop repainted a green door, and then put that on. And now I didn't wreck it, just I didn't wreck it, but it got wrecked under my ownership on the exact same way. And I'm putting a red door on it now, and I'm gonna repaint it. And I took that old door off, and I found that it was a green on the back. And sure enough, like when I cut and practiced on it, I found the green paint in all the Bondo. So I thought that was pretty funny. Ever want to motor swap the car? Nope. No need. I mean, I'm supercharging it as well. But also, I do not have the skill set yet to do anything like that. You know, so maybe in a while, if things get crazy, if I really like get comfortable and it makes sense to, maybe. But I have no interest. I really like the engine. I really like that it's like a cheap engine and like everything else is stock. So yeah, it's kind of outside of my abilities in the moment. Nice damn. Yeah, it is a nice supercharger. Well, it's good to see you. Wish I was able to stick around, chat. Gotta get somewhere. Leave. Get you. Thanks, man. It's always good to see you. Hot damn, you definitely got lucky. Um, yeah, I mean, I think I got as lucky as I could have. The best part of it is the previous owner, the guy I bought it from, he owned it for 2 years, and his name is Doug. He's actually commented on a couple of my videos. He is the guy that got me started with all of this. So when I went to pick it up, I didn't know a thing about cars, and he said it just needed brakes. And I was so enthusiastic to get the car as soon as possible that I offered to help him with the brakes because I was like, yeah, this would be a great way for me to learn. Because imagine like getting a car and coming home and just being like, okay, I got to figure out how to like jack it up and work on it. So he kind of showed me the ropes of like, oh, here's how you safely jack a car up. Here's like the jack points in every car. You can like learn what they are. Do a push test to make sure it's good. Put some support under it with like another jack. Here's how to like wrench on the car. Here's how the brakes function. You know, he got me started on that. And that was like, dude, that was huge. If it weren't for that help, I don't know if I would have got this deep or this comfortable with it. But yeah, I got lucky in a way for sure because it was like a nice, clean looking car in a nice color in a really nice. This is like a souped up spec. It's an LS trim. It comes with the bigger brakes. It came with the upgraded suspension. It came with the upgraded 6-speed. It has an LSD and the hardtop. It came with the original paint matched hardtop, and it came with the original window sticker, which I found later on, which also confirms that all the stuff came with it originally. The only catch was it was high mileage. It's pretty old, and you can tell quite a bit. Looks like your headlights are faded. Yeah, I touched on this a moment ago. I did a headlight restoration 2 years ago when I got it, and it did not hold up. And we were trying to figure out why. I bought like the Sylvania kit, which I did a lot of research on. I think it must have been user error, but yeah, I do want to redo them properly. But yeah, I first need to finish up all the engine work and like get the car drivable again because the bumper has been in my kitchen, literally in my kitchen for a month now. So I'm trying to get that all together, and then I'm gonna do work on cosmetics. Maybe all the 8 owners were some older ladies. Maybe. I don't know. Like, that's the only thing that could possibly make sense is that, like, I mean, when I bought the car, I was like, okay, it's a good stock car. They hold their value well, and I'm going to keep it stock. I'm going to be responsible. This is very not stock anymore. So yeah, I'm sure if a young person had it, like, it wouldn't have remained stock. So I don't understand at all. Also, how do you go through 8 owners and not have one kid be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take that Miata and like mod it? Repair looks good so far. Thank you. Took quite a bit of effort. What PSI will you get with Roadtrex? Followed you on Instagram. Let me know what you think of my build. Absolutely. If I remember correctly, 12 PSI at the peak. Does that sound about right? I think 12 PSI at the peak. And because the supercharger, it's linear with the revs. I think it's a little under 2 PSI per 1,000 revs, if I'm right. But you can look it up as well. I got the C30-84 Roadtrex supercharger. But I want to say 12 PSI will be peak PSI at 7,000. And that should be about 220 horsepower at the very top end. Honestly, if not for the crash, would you modify it the way you did to keep it as stock? That's a really interesting question. No. Let's think about that. Yeah, so like, okay, so before the wreck, the car was turning out to be like an OEM plus car, like a perfectly OEM plus. I had already put in the Super Miata Tecnas, so like really good coilovers, but also I got the soft spring. So it was meant to be like a nice, comfortable dual duty car. So like I had really good coilovers, wheels and tires, fresh stock brakes, just refreshed interior, but all stock. And that was, I don't know what I would have done next. I was getting to a point where I was starting to map out, like, what am I going to make content about? Like, I need to figure out what I'm doing. And then the wreck happened. So that sucked, but in the silver lining was it kind of answered that for me, or it kind of gave me that push. But I was thinking about supercharging it. I already had done my research. In fact, I'd already like called TrackDog and chatted with them because I told them like I don't think I'm gonna ever buy one, but I am pretty curious. I just wanna, I just wanna know, just wanna talk a little. I'm kind of curious. Um, but it's a lot of money to mod a car. I mean, it was $5,000 for the kit, I think. And then you have to put a little bit more money into supporting mods. So that doesn't include the clutch and flywheel. You need a new clutch for sure to like handle the more power. I also got a lightweight flywheel while I was at it. And there's recommended mods like a bigger radiator, and then a coolant reroute, and then probably motor mounts to like so it doesn't shake more. But I don't know what would have happened. I wonder if I would have got more into like making it like an ultra restored car, really putting a lot of time. I was going to actually polish the paint and start to learn how to do not body work, but like really good, really in-depth detailing work. So maybe that answers your question. It probably would have been a more realistic restored OEM Plus build, but now it's becoming like a souped up OEM Plus build. But yeah, dude, like I wouldn't to like cap it off to conclude on that. I would not have probably supercharged it if it weren't for the insurance money. But I was already thinking about it before the wreck happened. So who knows? But it was going in an OEM Plus kind of angle, and then here we are. Rods are weak. Exactly. I did a lot of research on that, and actually, this answers the other thing. Why did you go this route over turbo or root style? You don't really need a reroute on VVT. So, okay, here's the deal. Let's see. When I looked into getting the supercharger, you got to remember this is also me 1 year after learning how to do an oil change. I still did not know a lot, but I knew enough to know that my goal was not to. I didn't have an unrealistic goal of like I want the biggest turbo, full standalone. I'll do whatever it takes because I wouldn't be capable of that. I wouldn't be capable of maintaining it, or I wouldn't have known what I signed up for. So I wanted simplicity and reliability. So a couple reasons over the turbo, and I've never driven a turbo, so take that for what it's worth. This is just purely on like internet research, which is whatever it is. Turbos generate more heat, so you have more heat in the engine bay. What was the? I'm trying to think through. It's been a moment. Everything I read about the Roadtrex is that it feels a lot like a naturally aspirated car that's just way stronger. and I really liked the sound of that. And so that was kind of the main thing I was looking for. Is like I didn't want anything like wild or unpredictable that would also put a lot of torque through the rods and the transmission. So I wanted to keep it safe, wanted to keep it more drivable and predictable. And then I've heard that turbos put a lot of heat into the engine bay, which at least they definitely do generate a lot of heat. So I didn't want to deal with that. And then another huge factor was I didn't want to do standalone yet because I didn't want to sign up for that complexity. So this kit came with, I have them somewhere here, piggyback fuel and timing cards. So they will run on a stock ECU and be street legal. So that is like really helpful. And the only other competitor I've seen to that is the, I'm trying to think about this. The Flying Miata turbo kit comes with the Voodoo box. This makes more power than that, or at least more horsepower than that. So that was that kind of like ended it at that point. I really didn't want it to be like pretty simple and easy to use and relatively reliable. I'm probably glossing over a few things that I forgot, but at the end of the day, it was simplicity and reliability. I don't want to do a crazy build, just like a more streetable, maintainable build, and kind of came to that. Ray Romano, I do not know what that means. How many rupees did you pay? I live in the US, so $6,000. All right. Linear power curve. My car is so unpredictable. Okay, cool. I'm glad to hear that because I felt a little insecure being like, hey, this is why I didn't pick turbo, but also I've never driven a turbo car. This is just purely based on doing a lot of in-depth internet research. So that was kind of my thinking, yeah. And especially a year ago, I had no interest in touching the engine, like the inside of it. And I was terrified to be at a point where I would have to. So like the whole point was like, I will do this only if it means I won't blow up an engine because I literally do not know what to do if I blow up an engine. So that was like a huge part of it. And when you look at that and you don't want the complexity of the aftermarket ECU, from what I saw, it only leaves you with the Track Dog kit with their fuel and timing cards and the Flying Miata Turbo with the Voodoo box. So at that point, it just became like both. Fear a lot for I'm here. Hey, what's up, man? Not much. I mean, I gave some sneak peeks about the car. It's had a lot of work done to it that has not been public on the channel yet. I'm still editing videos. We talked about my camera gear that I use, Canon R6. And yeah, we're just kind of talking through builds and plans for the car and stuff like that. Yo! Unpredictable is fun, but you do learn when it kicks under that throttle. Exactly, yeah. So, like, I don't have a problem with that. Like, I don't have a problem with that, but I don't know, like, how do I put it? Okay, so I was on MiataTurbo.net, like, a while ago, and I saw a review or a post about it that made the analogy that a turbo is like a vodka Red Bull and the Rotrex is like a fine wine. Where both are great for their own reasons. So I get that. Like my Model Y Performance, like that thing has a shit ton amount of torque. So I know what that feels like, and I understand how fun it is to just have like a rowdy car. But in a car that I would have to work on and wrench on and then worry about I didn't heat proof things enough. I didn't know anything about that. I was just a little too scared that's a lot. So yeah, but like I said, like the stock ECU thing was the final decision. Like, oh well. Also, the Rotrex kit with the stock ECU makes more power than the Flying Miata Voodoo box. If you look up both of their dynagraphs, this one will do about 220 apparently, and the Voodoo box Flying Miata will hit I think 190 horsepower. Obviously, the turbo I think makes more torque, but it's because this makes torque linearly all the way to redline. But that's why I'm I also would love to drive a turbo and just get that experience. I'm sure I would love it. But for this being a more realistic dual duty car, I like the idea of like a fine wine boosted car. So the engine went back in. Hell yeah. It went back in 2 or 3 days ago, 3 days ago, and it is still not running. I'm still connecting the last few things, and then I tore the O-ring, the brand new O-ring for the dipstick tube, and so I am picking up a new one tomorrow. So yeah. Oh, this is the comment I've been waiting for. Tell us about your music. The drumstick microphone had me cracking up. Yeah, that's the only way I've been able to figure out how to like put my music like past into my videos. You know, kind of keep it more authentic to like me. In short, I do want to figure out, and I was talking about this earlier. I didn't touch on it fully, but when I was a kid, all I wanted to be was a musician. I wanted to be like the best guitarist in the world. And I've been playing guitar since I was 10, so 16 years ago. And then a few years later, I also got into drums. And then I was like, I also want to become the best drummer in the world. And then I also picked up bass and I started singing and I started making rock music. I'm just going to quickly go over this. I put out my first album when I was like 15 or 16. I played everything on it and then I recorded it myself in my bedroom with GarageBand. And then the next one, when I was 18, I went to a studio, did the same thing, except someone else recorded it. And then I've put out a few like songs since then. The solo project name is Indulgent. If you look that up, you'll find me on Spotify and you'll find a picture of my face. That is me playing everything. So growing up, that was my life creative goal. And then when I got to college, I studied software, like computer science. And I started working more towards that just because music was kind of an unrealistic like career. And then at the time, I also picked up photography as a new hobby. And then I graduated and just started working as a software engineer. I've played in quite a few bands, and it just got to a point where I was a little burnt out on music, and I didn't want to have to grind like as a starving artist. I really did not want to do that. So that being like a full-time rock musician, it was kind of like my childhood dream that I worked on for quite a while. That was kind of like that never happened, you know? So so this YouTube channel is like a very unexpected surprise for me. This is not at all what I thought I would be doing or care to do or like have gained the most traction, but it is. And so it's been like really refreshing for me to just get into something brand new that I also haven't overthought for like years of like, I want to make it. I want to make it. But yeah, so that's kind of like how I got here. And that's, I think, why sometimes you'll kind of notice in my videos, I think that you'll see a little bit of that musician and photography influence and previous like creative influence kind of work in. And that's kind of where it comes from, is like I was an artist in several fields before I got to like car YouTube. And so my goal is like, I'm making car YouTube, but like I want to see if I can work something else and make it a little bit more interesting, make it a little bit different. And so I've been leaning heavily on like creative storytelling as kind of like that thing. But yeah, so I mean, I would love to find a way to like put stuff into it, but like put some of the like music stuff into it, but it's kind of hard because it's not really what people are here for. I mentioned earlier in my early videos, I used to use only my music. So like the rock music in like the early videos, it's just me playing everything. But I've kind of transitioned away from that just because I want like higher production music. And a lot of that music, I was 18 when I recorded it, so it's kind of old. But yeah. What sticks are those? Wait, ITBs. Then you like ITBs. I've heard just that they don't make as much power with like just naturally aspirated. Also, aren't they like still pretty loud? Because like I literally live like a few feet from like another house. So I really don't want to be like too loud. ITBs is like a really tasty 0% wine. That sounds really funny. Okay, that's funny. What sticks are those, by the way? You're gonna love these. These are no name factory reject sticks that you can buy at Guitar Center. Because like for the non-drummers out there, sticks are expensive. They're like, I don't know, what are they now? Like $7 or $10 for a pair. And then I break sticks pretty often because I play really hard. And if you go to Guitar Center, you can buy a bag of like, I think they're supposed to be Vic Firth, but they're factory rejects that for whatever reason they didn't think were good enough, and they like toss them into this pile, and it's like $1 or $2 per stick, and you can buy a bag of 30 for I think $30. That's what these are. I think these are 5A size. I don't even know. Yeah. Did you get the top latching easily? You have to loosen the drip rail to make it easy. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? Wait, tell me more about that, because I'm not actually that familiar. But no, the top does not latch easily. It still is a little too tight, and the new top has been on it for like a year and a half now. 14% ITB sound godly though. Throttle response is fun. You have to adapt to it. I assume y'all are talking about ITBs. I would love to drive one. I've never even heard an ITB that I know of in person outside of I think a car show. Dude, that's awesome. I played drums badly when I was a kid. My ears remind me all the time. Oh man, I love your passion, enthusiasm. It'll take you places. Thank you. That means a lot. Yeah. If anyone asked you, but is there any other car you'd like to own, like a second project after the Miata or an obtainable dream car? Oh, hey, I'll be gonna dip. It's 1 a.m. in UK. Damn. Okay. Thanks for coming in. I'll check I think you said you messaged me on Instagram or followed me. I will check out your stuff. Yeah, there's a couple of cars. I don't want to take on a lot of project cars because it's so much work and it's also not my job. But, you know, if we're talking about dreams, I had the idea to just get another Miata and then speed run everything I've learned. Because everything I've done on this car, I've learned so slowly over like 2 years. It would be kind of fun to like actually get into the flow of working on it and not be like stopping every time because I'm learning something brand new. It'd be fun to see, okay, but now that I know all this, let me get another one, start from scratch, and just speed run all of it. That could be really fun. Like a week ago, I looked into RX-8s because Mazda RX-8s because I didn't realize they're really cheap for what they are, and they are pretty nice and pretty just special. And now that I'm starting to get into engine work, I'm like, hey, like if you have to rebuild a rotary every like 30,000 miles or whatever, maybe that's not that bad, you know? Maybe that could be content. But I started watching rotary rebuild videos because of that. Outside of that, Porsche Caymans. I'd love to have a Porsche Cayman. And the realistic car right now is like a 981 Cayman S. Those are like 30 to 40K for a stick. And it comes with a flat stick. So like that's my realistic dream car in general. I don't know how much wrenching I'd ever do on a car like that. But yeah, I love Porsches. With ITBs, you were chasing for response and power. That makes sense. I got 2 different Vic Firth sticks. Hell yeah. Come over here and try driving mine. Where are you located? ITBs are goated. Love to adapt someone with a single cam in the Honda scene. Yeah, I met a guy who put ITBs on. His car wasn't running at the time. The guy that I bought the engine stand from, he was doing a massive like engine rebuild plus ITB and plus overbore. I think it was like a naturally aspirated 2.0 on his NA Miata. So he was telling me about it and he showed me it, but it wasn't running yet. But also he put a lot of time and energy into that project, and he was like, yeah, I'm hoping to make 165 horsepower. And I was like, damn, that's a lot of effort for that. But yeah. Colorado. Gotcha. I am pretty far from Colorado, but I'll let you know if I'm ever nearby. The other Calatexian state. Interesting. But yeah. What else is there? What else do y'all want to know about? What else can I talk about? I can talk about music, photography, content. I feel like a little like menu selection. Or if y'all have any other questions, I'm probably going to end this in the next like 15-20 minutes. But yeah, or if you want to know more about the upcoming content, I can talk about that because y'all are here and I can kind of give you like sneak peeks on what is going on with the car because I have quite a bit of work done. What drum kit do you have? I have the same drum kit I bought when I was in 9th grade. It is a PDP 6-piece concept birch kit. It's like a mid-level kit, and I still play and I love it. But I do have a pork pie snare. It's like a 13-inch brass snare. It's like 13 by 7 or something. So it's a little smaller but really deep. Sounds amazing. Um, do you have plans to integrate 3D printing in your car build? Slowly, yeah. So actually, that's actually funny that you mentioned that. It has been working its way into my new videos. I do not know how. I don't have any ideas right at the moment to like work it into the build itself. But for a lot of tools, actually, let me just show, dude. I've been printing like 3D printed tools, so like that is covered in oil. So I did not want to touch that, but now I have transmission fluid on me. But for example, like this is a 3D printed, what is it called? Transmission cap, basically. Like, I don't know if you're familiar, when you pull a transmission out, you have to drain the fluid. It's like, I think $50 of fluid or $25. It's expensive fluid, and you only have to drain it because when you tilt the engine, it'll come pouring off the back. And normally the drive shaft would plug that. So someone 3D printed the end of essentially a drive shaft to plug that so that you don't have to drain your fluid. And I have like new fluid from a year ago. So this print saved me. This print was like 10 cents and it saved me $50. Let me show you all more prints. Okay, so sneak peeks of upcoming stuff. I resealed the entire engine, and I found prints for every single seal on the car. I think I still have a couple more up here somewhere. I can't find them, but these are specific to my car. I found the designs online, and these are all going to be linked in the relevant videos. These are basically to like push a seal in perfectly flat. I thought this was genius, and it takes in the original screw. For example, like this is like the intake cam seal. So you put the seal on, you put this on, you put that intake cam screw, and when you thread it in, it pushes it in perfectly flat. And it's sized perfectly for my specific use case. So like my exhaust cam seal, my crank seal, and then I have I don't know where it went. I had a rear main seal as well that used the flywheel bolts to push it in flat. I did that, and then I also have like a 3D printed timing tool to like hold what FM did. So these are basically what FM produces, yeah. And I also 3D printed a design similar to their I don't know what you'd call it, the tool that holds the timing gears in place. So once you've timed it, you can lock it in place, let go, and then set up the belt. I 3D printed that as well, which didn't work as great, but still did the job. So it has been working its way more as a tool than it has the final product so far. And most of that is because I have the smallest printer in the world, I think. I have a really small printer. I have the Bambu Lab A1 Mini, so it's like pretty tiny like build area. And then I don't have, I'm not really printing with any strong materials. These are all PLA. From what I've seen for like a car thing, you need ABS or ABA, but those also produce really toxic chemicals. So I don't really want to be printing that in my kitchen. So for now, I'm just using PLA for like handy tools, but we'll see. Was there anything else I looked? Yeah. So that's kind of like what's going on with 3D printing. I have been really liking it though, and I've been like posting about it on my Instagram story a lot as I'm working on it. My 3D printer is my absolute favorite tool I own. And I own like a bunch of tools at this point. But like that 3D printer is coming in so handy and making a huge difference. And is like literally printing me money at this point. Like, I mean, this is literally like $50 saved right here. And the printer was like $240. Like it's saving me so much stuff. And whenever I come up with like, I realize I have a little custom need, I can find the design online. So that's huge. And I do have a couple of video ideas planned. I want to learn CAD and 3D print custom organization for my tool chest, which has got very messy and very, very like filled. So I want to do stuff like that is like car adjacent. And then, you know, it works its way into little stuff like half of these hooks or wire hooks here are 3D printed. That's 3D printed. That's 3D printed. The angle grinder holder is like an angle grinder holder I found online. That's 3D printed. And there's a ton of hooks that are 3D printed, 3D prints, 3D prints. So it's working its way slowly as a tool more than anything. And I've been raving about it. I love that thing. But yeah, the top latch is with the latches in the front, right? But the back is pinched in the drip rail. Oh, if the latches are too tight, you can loosen the drip rail. I think 10mm bolts are on the rear. Dude, thank you. I need to look into that because it is definitely still a little too tight. Thank you, dude. I'm gonna save that. All right, what do we got here? So if I'm dead, looking at e-kits due to space and sound, yeah. Yeah, I don't know anything about electronic kits. I love the acoustic drum kits, but it definitely is very practical for sure. Looking forward to the next video. Thanks for the sneak peek. Absolutely. I thought knowing CAD is prerequisite to owning a 3D print. So that's the thing, and that's why I also want to make videos about. You don't have to know CAD at all to own a printer because so many people have uploaded their own free designs online. And so if you buy a reliable printer, like I got the Bamboo Lab and I love it. It literally is just like printing paper. Like you just find a file and you hit print and it just works. And so like you can just go on like Thingiverse or MakerWorld or whatever and just Google like Miata or like NB Miata or like anything you want, and you can find so much random shit that like just works. So it's less of like I need to know how to design 3D prints, but more about like I have a way to like print little plastic knickknacks that like people have already designed online. So like the first week I had it, the printer was running like almost, I don't know, like 20 hours a day. Like I was going to bed just like I found, because it's like I have a lot of hobbies, I have a lot of things I like, right? And once you get into 3D printing, it opens up another world where you realize like, wait, I wonder if someone has a print for that. I've never even thought about that. And then you Google it and you find everything you would ever want. And then you're like, okay, I gotta you put it all on one thing, you hit print, and then like 5 hours later, everything is finished printing. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I've already got my next group print. So I was just printing nonstop. Like little custom things for my desk holders. Like I have an audio interface on my desk that I've been trying to figure out how to mount to the bottom of it. I looked up the model of the audio interface I have. I Googled Focusrite Scarlett 8i8, and someone made an under desk mount that perfectly matches the 3D print or the actual whole, like the profile of the interface, and even fits the feet. Everything's perfect. And I print it and it just mounted straight up. And that was like, you know, it took like 2 hours to print and it was like 20 cents a PLA. You know, like stuff like that is like, oh wow, you don't have to worry about CAD, honestly. It's like, yeah. And so I just kept Googling like lots of little things like, oh, like, has anyone made knickknacks for guitars? I don't know. Oh, for my car things, like I keep finding tools that are handy and would otherwise cost money. It's just little custom knickknacks. You can just find so many designs. So yeah. And that whole spiel I just gave you, I want to make like a clean video about that concept. Cause like, I want to share it with people. It is like the coolest thing I've ever like got into. 3D print your own hobby. Haha. On the fence between a 3D printer or a welder. What do you want to do? Yeah, what do you want to do? And if you welded, what would you weld on? Because let's see. Because the 3D printer has way more use cases. That's the thing. It like works its way into every little thing you do. Whereas a welder will be a little bit more narrow of a use case. It still is really broad because it's a welder and like welding gets a lot done. But like I'm working on the car and I realize I need some sort of tool to do this. To help time my engine. Look it up. I find a thing to like hold the timing gears. I want to mount my audio interface under my desk. Found a thing. I 3D printed a bunch of hooks on the wall to just hook random stuff up. You know, it's like, I kept finding the most random stuff. I 3D printed lamps in my bedroom. You can buy, I think this is the funniest one. You can buy like for a few dollars a little like LED lamp kit that Bambu Lab makes and other people like rip off. And you can print a lamp that fits that thing, and then is like the whole holder around it that like that's the diffusion for it. I've printed 2 of those, so now I have 2. Both my bedroom lamps are like $6 lamps because that's the cost of the little like LED kit each. You know, it's like you can just do stuff like that. So it's kind of just like, what do you want to do with it? To me personally, I feel like for the average person, 3D printer gets you a lot more broad use case, and then welding is just more powerful, but it's a little bit more niche. That's how I would think I'd put it. 3D print accessories for pretty much any popular car out there. Yeah, especially cars. I do autocross. My spot welds might give up soon on my subframe. I might start with welding. 3D printed sounds more fun though. Yeah, then that makes sense. Absolutely. So that's what I'm saying. Like if you have a specific kind of need or you're doing a lot of car stuff, just go welder. But like, yeah, 3D printed cup holders are a best example. Yeah, and we're still talking about cars in that scenario. Yeah. And you can find like cup holders for any specific car. So before I got a 3D printer, I actually bought a 3D printed cup holder that like has a little custom mount to fit on the car. Dude, but that's huge. Like you can literally, I found this the other day, the print didn't work out that well, but on my wireless mic, this clip here is notorious for breaking off. It already has partially broken. This should never come off, but it did. And someone made a recreation of this that works better with a twist lock. It didn't work that well, but it did kind of work. And the fact that you can even find that kind of niche random thing of like a better holder for the DJI mic receiver. You know, if that kind of gives you an idea of how I'm just like, it just shows up in the most random ways. And a print like that takes like 25 minutes, you know? So, and it costs nothing. That's another thing. So there's no reason to not be printing. It's not like a high running cost. It's just a high upfront cost. So yeah, that's what I've been doing with it. But I do like let's see if I can show you all. My tool chest is usually very organized. And recently it has become a nightmare because I keep buying new tools because when I pulled the engine, I had to. Here, bear with me for a second. Let me show you what's up. And I want to 3D print custom shit for it because it's just getting too untenable. This is getting a little too much. Like it was organized 2 days ago and I reorganized it every other time I use it. But it's just, I have too much stuff to fit in here. Like this, I don't know what to do with, but like, and this is like from the original like box of tools I bought, but like, you know, when you need a specific tool to like hunt like this and find it, or having a dedicated spot for it would be nice. This isn't that bad, but yeah, it's just becoming a lot. And so I want to like 3D print like custom socket holders so that I can not only have this really clean, but yeah, socket holders, right? But if I can have not only this, so this is all my 1/2 inch stuff. This is the 3/8, and then this is the 1/4 inch. If at least the basic sockets, if I could consolidate all of them into one tray here, that would be amazing. Because I hate when I need a socket, but I only had room to organize each drawer by which size of socket. So if I need like a 10 millimeter, I look here and then I realize, oh wait, I need the 3/8 inch version. I have to open drawers to find the drawer. I want it to be like, if I just want a socket, every single socket I own is in a big, mega organized thing right here, you know? So I want to do that. And then I think it would also be pretty fun to learn CAD. I mean, it would still be, especially because socket organizers are really simple. I've been learning Autodesk Fusion a little, like Fusion 360. But yeah, that's kind of one like non-car thing I want to do. Dude, here's a 3D print I forgot about. I made a little bowl because why not? I needed a bowl for my like air compressor accessories. I forgot I even had that in here. And like, this is literally like a 5 or 10 cent bowl. Like a bowl on Amazon is like $5. You know, it just keeps showing up in like little ways like that. 3D print wrench holders and socket holders to start. Yeah, absolutely. The new yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I've been thinking about 3D modeling high tone speaker covers and sharing the file. Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of stuff that costs a lot of money that realistically doesn't need to. And 3D printing, like, kind of like democratizes that for people. And I love that about it. Wonder if ChatGPT can produce the 3D files. I don't know. I bet it could for simple stuff, but I've been playing a lot with it this past year, and there's a limit. And I don't know, but that would be a really cool experiment trying to generate 3D models out of it, because that would make life easier for everyone. There are also a lot of pieces of free software or like websites that people have built where you can generate your own 3D files depending on something. Like what I would want to do here, this is getting really 3D printy, nerdy stuff now, is there's an open source system that Zach Friedman built called Gridfinity, where you have these grids and you can print all these little holders that clip into it. And you can kind of build out this custom workspace. And that's what I wanted to use for this. I wanted to 3D print. I was thinking about maybe doing Gridfinity stuff. And people have, once he put that out there, people went online and made their own software that would auto generate Gridfinity holders with a few easy parameters. That way, people who don't know CAD can still make their custom holders for that. Like, isn't that kind of cool? So like, that's a cool middle ground as well. But yeah, for this, I also wonder if I kind of want to just do full custom design, just because I think it'd be kind of cool to like push myself to learn that whole skill set. And I mean, at the end of the day, that's what this channel is about. So that'd be kind of cool. And I really, really need it. This tool chest worked really great the first year. And then as soon as I started doing engine work, I had to buy all these little tools that were not required, but really handy. And it added up, and I can't get a bigger chest because I have a tiny garage. So I have to make this space work as efficiently as possible. So that's why 3D printing is going to be my attempt at a solution for that. Yeah, so that's kind of my whole spiel on 3D printing. But I have a few plans to make kind of videos about that. A little bit about that and like the tools that you can get, and I just want to share that knowledge, because not everyone knows about that or realizes how powerful it is or how accessible it is, because you would think you need CAD, and that's what I thought too. And then once I realized you don't, when I bought it, and it blew up from there. But yeah. Any last questions before I head out? Because I gotta go. Did you take class or just learn from YouTube? What are we talking about? What skill set? Welding and 3D printing. Welding, yes, I did take classes. I took a couple of welding classes a few months before my car got wrecked, because I figured, I was like, hey, I work on the car. I have zero plans to ever fabricate shit for it. But, I just feel like welding and metalworking is a very relevant skill to have, or adjacent skill for car work. And then it came true in the most crazy way, the most direct way possible. So I took a few classes to weld. When the wreck happened, I only had a few weeks of welding experience, and I'd never welded sheet metal. And that's a bit of a different technique. So I had to learn how to do that. And I also had to learn how to set it up, which I hadn't done before. 3D printing, just learned on my own. Absolutely. Just 3D printing, there's not that much to it to get started. Welding is just more scarier to get started with. But yeah, welding took a class for a few weeks, 3D printing on my own. All my car work on my own. Music, pretty much learned on my own, except for guitar lessons. Photography, I took classes in college, and then I did a lot on my own after that. But you name it, most of it I did on my own, like web development, Arduino, electronics, Raspberry Pi, all on my own. It's just so much more fun to learn on my own. I don't like being told what to do. I like to go and figure it out for myself, which is kind of why this channel is what it is. It's kind of just naturally what I'm like. I got nothing. Would love to see these live videos again. Thank you. I haven't ever really thought about live stuff that much. And I just kind of had the thought today, and I'm glad I did. I really enjoy it. But yeah, that's good to know. Used up all my questions too. Last questions, when's your next live? We'll see. I will try it. I'll try it a couple more times more often, and hopefully I will have more advanced notice and like schedule it out by a day or something. Um, but yeah, absolutely. I'm also, hey, also if y'all have ideas on like help me out here. If you do you have any ideas on what kind of live you'd want to see? Like, do you want to do this more, or is there anything else you want to see live? Because like I've thought about doing a live while working on the car, but when I work on the car, there's so much to focus on that I don't feel like the live stream would be interesting. It would just be like a security camera. You're just watching it, but like I'm not gonna be interacting with the camera, and I'm just so busy with the camera, with like using my like shooting on my actual camera, that like I don't think it'd be cool. But I would love to like do something a little bit more I don't know, a little bit more like engaging than purely like Q&A. Like I'd love to keep doing Q&A stuff, but it'd be cool to like find another type of variety and mix in. That's kind of my thought. Oh yeah, how do I fund all this with my day job? Yeah, this makes me almost no money right now. So I'm trying to hopefully get it to a point where it makes money. But right now, I'm spending all of my own money on this as kind of like a passion project. It is not sustainable long term at all, which is why I push my Patreon so hard in all of my videos, because like that's the most direct way to like financially support the channel and get it off its feet. But like YouTube, if you don't know, YouTube AdSense doesn't pay much at all. You literally make like a few bucks, like $4 or $5 per 1,000 views. So you do the math on that. Like like if you make a video and you put it out there and you get 1,000 views, great, you got $5. So it's a lot of work. So it's a passion project for now. My day job's a software engineer. Good luck on the build. Okay. Oh yeah. We're talking about the live stream. You can make live streams after every video so people can ask stuff. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's why I had the idea to do it now. Just because I feel like there's more to talk about, and it can be more interesting if it's like, like after the repair, there's kind of just stuff to talk about. And, there's stuff here that is kind of something cool that I can show, that is something like exclusive or like early look or special. I've been posting this stuff on my Patreon for like a month now, but this is the first time I've shown it like publicly, so y'all get that honor. Q&A live and show and tell. What do you mean by show and tell? Because I'm also trying to figure out, like, I feel like it needs to be pretty car related or pretty Miata related to be relevant. I don't want to have like completely unrelated lives. I don't want someone to be like, hey, I followed this kind of car YouTuber, makes cool stuff. They have a live, I have a live, they join it, and then I'm just like showing my drum kit. I don't think that would do well, and I want to do stuff that like builds the channel. So what do you mean by show and tell? Like what kind of stuff? Track day live, maybe. Kidding, car and drums mainly for me. Okay, interesting, good to know. No need to prep for live. I appreciate it. We'll join you and let's hang out. Hell yeah, I really appreciate it. Probably sounds cliche, but you really deserve more recognition. Dude, I really appreciate that. I know you've been around for a while. I really appreciate that. It means a lot. I am trying my best to figure out how to grow the channel. With every video I'm making, you can kind of tell like I'm pushing for more production quality and trying to make every little bit about it better, or make the title and thumbnail better, or just like figure out like how to make, most importantly, how to make a truly interesting video, how to tell a story clear. Like in my old videos, I rewatch those a lot and I'm like, maybe it's just too much information all at once. Like, how do I just make it better? So I'm always working on that, and it's exhausting. But yeah. Going to Miatas at the Gap or any big Miata meets this next year. I wish I could. The problem is I live in Texas, and most interesting things in the world seem to go on in California. And so I don't really have any plans. I have been toying with the idea of taking the car to Flying Miata's summer camp, because it's like only 1,000 miles away from here. So that is one idea. If you have any ideas or anything close to Texas, let me know. Put it in chat here, or if you have an idea later, put it in a comment or something. because I would love to get out and meet people more instead of just being in my garage. Show and Tell recently bought parts you plan to install, kind of like a sneak peek. Maybe, yeah. So right now, at least, I've been posting that on Patreon. Like every time I get stuff where I'm like, oh, this is going on or this is about to go on, I've been posting like big write-ups on Patreon. But that could be cool to do as a live, yeah. How come you didn't replace the entire quarter panel? Good question. It seemed to be more straightforward to just put the patch in, because the whole quarter panel is still welded. It's not like bolted, and it is spot welded, so it's not that terribly difficult, but you have to disassemble a little bit. You have to disassemble quite a bit of bodywork around it, and then drill out all the spot welds of a large piece, and then do that on a donor car, and then put that in, spot weld the whole thing in, and then reassemble all the bodywork and then paint it. It seemed to me, because the area of my damage was pretty small relatively, it just seemed way more straightforward for me to just cut the little piece out and put it in. Even if it was more work, because I don't know what I'm doing, the goal is always to make it as simple as possible. I'm willing to put in the work, but if something is really complicated, it actually becomes possibly too difficult for me to do. So that seemed to be the best option for that reason. But basically just a lot less effort, I think, or a lot more simple, I think. So that is kind of why that happened. If you do a summer camp, let me know. 4 hours away from me. Yeah, I will. If I do the Flying Miata summer camp, I'll post about it for sure. It's just that I would have to drive this car 1,000 miles, and this car is not comfortable on the highway. Where are we at now? Quality is definitely there and rising. Probably better thumbnails would grab more attention. Dude, that's what I'm trying to work on, dude. Like, I'm trying to figure out just by but I appreciate that. Just by glancing on a bunch of previous videos, the views seem pretty consistent. Yeah, I really like that. I really like the fact that my channel is not like an overnight success, because that would not be fun to deal with. It's way more fun and healthy if it's just like stable and consistent growth. So I really actually don't really like that, and I don't take that for granted. But yeah, thumbnails are the hard one for me. I've put a lot of effort into it, but I'm trying to walk the line of, try to make it a good thumbnail, but also I don't want it to be an annoying YouTube thumbnail, if you get what I mean. Like, I don't want to be like, with like a big, thick outline, a heavily edited thing. I want it to be a bit more interesting and mature, but at the same time, it has to be a good thumbnail. So I'm trying to walk that line and figure out how to make a clean thumbnail that works that I'm happy with, but also, I'd be happy with my videos doing as best as possible. So that's kind of what I've been struggling to balance. Yeah, but that's what I'm still trying to figure that out. Are we talking about the Miata? I actually was when you commented, and now I started talking about I started talking about like content creation YouTube. But yeah, dude, anything, or I guess if you just joined, like, I'm talking about anything you want to. I got the Miata here. Lots of stuff is happening with it. I was also earlier talking about like the camera gear, all the camera gear I use, advice for people doing content creation, my music background, my photography background, software, stuff like that. Also, we were talking about like a deep dive on like turbos or ECUs. As soon as you said mature, all my thumbnail ideas went out the window. That's what I'm saying. So that's tough for me to figure out, because like on one hand, like if it's like your typical thumbnail, I would not really be happy with it. I just wouldn't feel like that's me. But on the other hand, if I'm putting in so much effort to make this video, it's in my best interest to make the thumbnail in a way that will get it the most views as possible. You get what I mean? So like, I'm trying to figure out how to do that and how to find a style that I really like. So I struggled with that quite a bit for the video, the repair video I just put out. And I'm not perfectly happy with the thumbnail, but I am also happy that it is like really representative of it. But yeah, I was editing the thumbnail again today, or like playing within Photoshop and seeing if I could like do anything, but then it becomes too weird, like artificial. So it's just, I'm still trying to figure it out, but yeah, if you have advice or if you have thoughts on it, let me know, because that's the main thing I'm still trying to sort out. Did you find a club? What do you mean? What kind of club are we talking about? It's funny how chat knows exactly what you mean when you did the thumbnail face. Yeah, and the thing is, I can't even blame a lot of the YouTubers I watch that do that, because statistically it appears to work. So like, I love Matt Armstrong, and I've watched him for years, and he's like he's one of the biggest reasons I got into the stuff. But all of his thumbnails are a perfect example of that nowadays, you know? So like, but also all of his videos get like 3 million views minimum. And to be fair, when I scroll through his channel, it's very clean and engaging. It's just maybe not the style that I would prefer to see. Thumbnails are like the worst part about YouTube. It's really difficult balance, and it's difficult to, I don't know, it's just tough. And I'm still struggling with it, so I'm always open to feedback. But that's the thing, like, I'm never, like, what am I gonna do with, like, the repair? Like, imagine, like, if I just did that, like, kind of face next to the wreck, but then you watch the video, and the video is, like, a very, like, more calm and mature video, where I'm, like, expressing how anxious I am to work on this thing. You know, so it's, like, it also, I don't wanna have a mismatch where people click on the video, and it's not what they thought it was, or it wasn't really representative, and then they leave. That doesn't really work. And in fact, YouTube knows that and talks about that a bit in their stats. We can't go full Michael Reeves up in that. You know, Michael Reeves is the one guy who's allowed to do that, because when you see his like or like memey or cringy kind of thumbnails and you click on it, you get like that kind of video, and it's amazing. Like he's the one guy that can afford to make the wildest, like weirdest thumbnail, and it is completely on brand, and I would love that. But it's stuff like car work, where it's like, I don't know, I'll see videos that are like very normal, like replacing my motor mounts. It doesn't align with what it is, you know? Michael Reeves, it does, 100%. To be fair, Matt Armstrong, he rebuilds, you know, crashed Porsches and Lamborghinis. It actually does work. Your garage studio conversion was dope. I think it's so key to have your passion space to be functional as well as ideal in its aesthetic. Cultivates creative ideas as well as space to work. Thank you. I appreciate that. I recognize you. I've seen you I think I met you in the Discord, or the YouTuber Discord, and I think I've watched a couple of your videos. Yeah, it was a big deal for me. I didn't realize at the time, but now I appreciate it, that the space is like my space. You know what? I'll do a live in the future about the garage, maybe, and do like a little like show and tell tour. I do know I'm gonna make a video about that for sure, and I've been upgrading it and recording it, so that's gonna be another video. But yeah, like this is a big deal for me to have a space, and then getting AC was a huge part of it as well. But that's the thing, like everything here is built out to be, and it's a really tiny garage. It's a 200 square foot. Like in the video I make about this garage, I'm gonna park my Model Y in here, and you'll realize that you cannot open the doors properly. You can't open both doors at the same time. Like it's tiny. So that is why a lot of the stuff is like wall mounted, so it's accessible and it doesn't take up drawer space, but it's like out of the way and it's not on the floor. And then this is a new thing that'll be in videos, is like I built a shelf in my workbench to perfectly fit this. And then this air compressor is like, there's a black wire all the way there, black hose all the way there. That is kind of built in to take up as little space as possible, but to be as functional as possible. And then this workbench is also on wheels and built in a way that is very modular, and it can be rolled out and used, which is why it has an extension cord built into it. So this stuff, if I'm using it outside, it's powered up with a single extension cord, because I did not do that when I worked on the car initially, and it was so painful to like pull an extension cord all the way outside and then have all these little devices plugged in everywhere and have to run 2 extension cords, and then realize it was just a mess. And I realized, oh, if I build it into the desk, that would be way cleaner, you know? So like I'm gonna make a video about my thinking about all of this. And kind of like, yeah, so it's been huge for me, and it's also been a major deal in, it's made a pretty big difference in me making better content too, to just have a stable space that is like my own. Yeah. Honestly, I wouldn't care for cringy as long as it gets you the bread. I appreciate it, but I still want to figure out how to do it in my way, you know? Top Dead Center has thumbnails that definitely tie into attention, but they're really not that obnoxious. I need to check that out. I've watched quite a few of their videos, but I never actually like paid attention to that. Huh. I have to head out. Yeah, man. Thanks. See you and bug you when possible. Sure. Very nice stuff. Taking notes. Yeah. So, yeah. So I have quite a few thoughts on building out the garage. And that's why, like, so I'll give you a sneak peeks, more sneak peeks for everyone. All of this unpainted stuff is brand new, still being worked on as well. A lot of the stuff there is brand new. The air compressor setup is brand new. This is all brand new, and there's more to it than just hooking up on the wall. The placement is a big deal. So for example, everything that goes on this wall is dual duty stuff I'd use in the garage and in my home, which is right there, and there's your bumper. Whereas stuff here is mainly workbench stuff, because there normally is a step stool on this hook right here, and there's a level there. And I used to have the step stool all the way over there on the side of the car, and I realized it made no sense because every time I would need it inside the house, you have to walk and kind of shimmy your way through here and then grab it. And it was completely non-functional. I realized there needs to be sections to this that make sense. Oh, talking about 3D printing earlier, those are not well done because they're PLA and they're crap. I need to redo this, but those are basketball holders that I 3D printed. A horrible example, but there you go. So, you know, there's ideas like that built in. And then making, like, I modified my workbench really heavily recently. So it's like like I said, everything unpainted is brand new. I heavily reinforced it and built in a shelf and set it up with this thing so that I could do a lot of metalworking and that I could actually have all this as storage. Because before this was just an open area and I would just, like, I guess, roll a chair under there. But yeah, and then everything here is built very specifically. Let's see. These are all like electronics or plug-in stuff that I would use here. Hence, because I would just plug it here and work. And whereas here is like stuff I'd usually use outside or even in the middle of the garage, which is basically like clamps and like woodworking tools. I'm rarely ever going to use a clamp here, but a lot of times I will put like a stand outside or right here in the garage and take some 2x4s, pop it on there, and start like clamping it down and cutting it, you know? So I'll do stuff like that pretty often, and I'm starting to build this out as like a little charging station. And then there's more thinking with this. Like, the charging station is electronic stuff, but it should not be, there's no need for it to be mounted to the workbench itself, right? That can just live on the wall. So my plan is to get another one of these and mount it on the wall there. That way they're always permanently wired in, and everything wired in here is meant to be like part of the workbench or like handy plugs for tools, you know, stuff like that I have kind of planned out. Thought I had another thing, you know, like I don't want to keep batteries charging all night. So I specifically bought a strip with power buttons. That way I can always have control over that. And then also if I'm using power tools, it is nice that I can turn off the tool when it's not in use for safety. For example, the angle grinder can like chop your fingers off, or, you know, the jigsaw with the blade out there. When I have it plugged in and it's not in use and it's just kind of sitting on the side, for extra safety, I like that I can just kill it and not have to worry about like hurting myself. And then when I need it, it's just a quick like switch to turn it on instead of just plugging it in, taking it out. You know, like there's a lot of ideas I put into it. Oh, one last thing that I thought was funny. I painted my electrical panel white. Oh, yeah, that's a huge thing. Everything is as white as possible. This will be painted because my garage, for a really specific reason. my garage is really tiny, and when I film and I'm also in here, it having everything white makes it feel much bigger than it actually is. Like, cause you know, like when I'm in here, this is what it looks like. And this is a really tiny garage, but it doesn't feel that way at all. And that's why I keep making everything white, or I paint it white, to kind of keep that feel. So that's another part of the design as well. Did you end up selling your stock wheels? Yep. It's been so long, the wheel change, I forgot. I finally sold them a few months ago, actually. I changed out the wheels, what was it? A year ago, almost exactly a year ago, and I hung on to the old wheels because I didn't know what to do with it. I've never been in a scenario where I had more than one set of wheels for a car. But after a while, I just got so annoyed with like moving them around and stuff that I realized I'm never ever going to use those because I'm all in on the 15-inch wheel now. This came stock with 16-inch wheels that are a bit heavy, and I'm all into a smaller 15-inch wheel that's wider. So if I ever get wheels, another pair of wheels, whether it's like track wheels or if I want to have like a drift pair for the rear or something, it's going to be 15 inches and it's going to be flow formed, right? So like I felt really bad about splitting it up from the stock wheels because the stock wheels look so cool, but I realized I will never use those again. And they had really old, like not great tires on them. So it didn't make sense. So I finally sold them, and now I can put that money towards the car, right? But yeah, I still do, by the way, this is an interesting point. I still have the stock suspension because my thinking is it doesn't take much room at all because they're pretty small, but it is really good insurance if this car ever truly gets wrecked to the point where it's unsavable. The suspension in here was $1,300. If I can save that suspension and take it to the next car, that would be really nice. And so I'm keeping the old ones as a placeholder as insurance. So that way I can always like quickly swap it out. If this is going to go to a junkyard, I'm taking that suspension off of it. I'm putting the stock one back in and just sending it off with stock, you know? So I am holding on to that as insurance, or I have no plans to sell this car, but if I ever do, just the insurance of being able to pull my really nice suspension out of it. I did keep that because it doesn't take that much room in my closet. The wheels, they do, and it doesn't provide much insurance. So that was kind of my thinking on that. Saw you're live. I'm so sorry I'm getting those comments so late. Just want to stop by and say I was definitely inspired by your last video to get back out and work my ride. I think everyone hates doing things that are brand new. Yeah, I love it and I hate it. I love it when I'm doing it, but I hate getting started on it. It's very difficult to get started. It's terrifying to get started. Yeah. Those on and off switches are clever. That's what I'm saying. Like, it took me a while to realize, like, that is really handy because, like, when I was working on the car in that previous video, the angle grinder, I was, like, turning it off, and then it, like, scared me that I realized I might accidentally flip it, and a couple of times I'm picking it up, I accidentally did. Like, and I was like, that's terrifying. So then I had to pull out the cord every time I wasn't using it, place it on the side, do whatever I'm doing. And then halfway into that repair, I had the idea to just Google extension cord with switches. And I started using that. And then after I finished up the repair, I realized mounting it to the workbench itself and just dragging the whole workbench out there is way better, you know? So, and then I'm not like trying to deal with pulling it in and out with changing out the cords while I have like my thick welding gloves on. So yeah, when turbo ski, I don't know what that means. Does it snow in your area? No. If yes, they could be good use for winter tires. It snows in Austin once every 2 or 3 years, and when it does, it's like 2 inches for the most part. So yeah, I don't really have snow. I mean, to give you a better idea of how little we get snow, I generally run summer tires on both my cars all year round. It's only this year that I went to all seasons for the Tesla just to get cheaper tires because I didn't really need to be paying for 21-inch Michelins or like Pilot Sport 4Ss, but yeah, I run summer tires on my cars normally, and this car is on summer tires all year round, and I will drive it year round. So yeah, I don't have a use for winter tires, but that's what I'm thinking. If I ever get so deep into stuff that I want a track tire, or I want an extra wheel for performance reasons, if I want a wheel for performance reasons, I'm not using the stock wheel. I'm gonna get a 15-inch flow-formed wheel, and they're not that expensive either. Like the flow formed wheels on this, I think were like 120 or 130 each. And I sold the stock wheels as a full set for 250. So, you know, that's 2 brand new wheels right there if I ever want. I would way rather have 2 15-inch flow formed, you know, like Koenigs or something instead of the stock wheels. So, yeah, or like RPF one. That's what I'm saying. Like that just paid for 2 of them. So, and I hated just dragging them around. It took up so much space, and I don't need it yet. But that's what happened there. Man, matching paint is gonna be a bitch. Thank you, as in yeah, uh, yeah, yeah. I am gonna figure out how to do paint when I get to it. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that at all. As in turbo. You mean like when will I turbo it? Because I'm supercharging it, and I already have it actually. Yeah, I'm a big fan of a lot of the Koenig designs. Okay, so countergrams are the other wheel I really wanted. I spent a lot of time thinking about wheels. Yeah, dude, I don't know if you're familiar. I'm supercharging it, and in fact, hold up. You're asking when am I gonna turbo it? Dude, like I already got a thing right here. It's a Roadtrek supercharger. So that's what's happening. I love that I just had that handy. Dude, okay, so I really wanted the chrome countergrams. And I finally decided I preferred these wheels on it. These are Advanti Storm S1s in like the matte gray. Because I like the deep I just like the look a lot. But I was cross-shop. I was really on the edge almost about to get the countergrams. And I still think about that a lot. Because this paint looks so good with like chrome or metal or silver highlights. Like, it's really good. And in fact, I might as well show you. The car has a couple of silver highlights in it, and they just pop so nicely. For example, like the previous owner swapped this in from a different Miata. This came with the body colored fuel door, and he changed it. But you know, like chrome like that, or like he also swapped this in. It just looks so good on this car. And the stock wheels were chrome. They were like a matte silver. So it's like, it just looks so good with the little silver highlights. So my thought was like, oh, that I should keep that color scheme going. Yeah, look up I think you might be able to find like one picture. Look up a picture of the silver countergrams with like a crystal blue Miata. It goes so well. But I finally went with the matte gray because I think I preferred that more at that point. Paint shops got you covered. I mean, I'm gonna buy paint, but I'm gonna paint it myself because I think that'd be fun, and it'd be cheaper. So it's kind of on me. Get it? Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, get it matched and spray it yourself. Yeah. So that's a plan. Is to when I do it, I'll figure out how to get the correct matching paint. I know the color code 23C. I don't know if it needs to be perfectly paint matched, and so I'm going to look into that time, but thank you for letting me know about that. I went with Hypergram. Hell yeah. Definitely do 15 by 9. Yeah, I might just do 15 by 8. That's just what I have on it now, and that seems to be plenty enough. But yeah, 15 by 8, 15 by 9, those are right there. So like right now I'm running 205 with tires, and I love the look of it, and it's really nice functionally as well. It's not like, I've seen a couple... There's one of my friends on Instagram who has a track-only Miata that he goes really crazy with. And he got rid of his 225s and downsized to a 205 with tire because he said it was like over-gripped for the car. So I thought that was interesting. But yeah. Yeah, I thought about wheels quite a bit back then because it was kind of the biggest aesthetic change to make. So I had a lot of fun trying to plan out like, ooh, what can I do to like accessorize the car? And basically like realistically the only like main way I could. But I don't know, like the Advantis, I really liked how sharp they look. And I kind of like something about like the toned down and almost like, I don't know, I just like the gray on it too. Talking about wheels, Kosei K1s. Are those like the 5-spoke with the flat? I'm trying to remember which those are. I am thinking of a specific 5-spoke like flat design that looks really good and it has like broad spokes. Um, do you daily your Miata or your Model Y? Model Y for sure. Um, the Miata is dailyable just because it's not over modified, but 100% the Model Y. Apart from the comfort, there's two main reasons. One, safety. I live in Texas, and there is a lot of lifted trucks that drive around here that cannot see shit on the road. And they can't see me in a Miata. Like literally, like I have to drive very specifically in the Miata. I go out of my way to get away from those cars so they don't accidentally like not see me. But doing that and then driving on the highway at like 85 with all these cars around me is terrifying in the Miata. So I don't care to do that as a daily. And then I don't care to do that to put myself through that. And then also there's no use because if you're doing little city streets and traffic, what's the point of driving a manual Miata? Like I'm not getting the joy out of the car. You know, it's kind of almost ruining it. And then ingress and egress. I'm pretty tall and with like long legs, so it's like kind of annoying to get in and out of all the time. Those are my two kind of gripes when it comes to daily ability. But I did have an idea a while back to make a video where I do daily drive it for a week and just take you along and see what that actually is like. So that is a plan I do have in the future, just for a video's sake, just kind of share that experience and just as a fun little thing of like, I wonder how bad it'll actually be. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not that bad because I've taken a trip to California once where I rented an ND and I drove that nonstop for 2 weeks and put 2,000 miles on it and it was a manual and I got along with it just fine. So yeah. It will have to be paint matched because it's 20 years old and the spray will look brighter. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, okay, I see. So do you like take the car to the store and then what do they do? Are you saying like they take the correct paint, like 23C, and then they like modify it a little to get it to be a perfect match to the current color look of my car? Or do they like make it from scratch? Like how do they do that? 6 spokes, yeah, pretty popular in the Miata community too. Gotcha. Hell yeah. You can take something like the mirror and they modify the mix. They do both. Interesting. Oh, okay. Good to know. I mean, I can bring them a whole door. I have the old door, sitting in my backyard. I could just bring them that door. And yeah, in fact, that would be very accurate because that's like paint right now. I have pieces of my old quarter panel. I straight up have a box of the pieces of my quarter panel right up there. That could work. I didn't even think about that. But yeah. All right, I'm for real going to actually end this in a few minutes. So if you got any last questions, let me know. But I should probably eat dinner at some point today. Yeah. Some tool to copy how your paint looks exactly. Good to know. Because I haven't looked into that much, and so I figured something like that exists. But like, all the stuff has been so much work that I'm doing it one step at a time. If I had taken on the repair and tried to pre-plan everything, it would have been impossible to do. Like imagine like having no experience and then being like, okay, like you have to learn how to weld and do all the body work and paint it. I just have been gambling on myself that I will figure it out when I get to it and then doing one step at a time. So like I didn't know how difficult bodywork or Bondo is. I've heard about it. I've heard about how difficult it is, but I figured, what the heck, I can probably figure it out. So, I've just been doing like, okay, I'll figure out how to do the bodywork, how to weld it in. Okay, I learned about that. Okay, how to actually do the Bondo correctly. Okay, and then now the car is done. Now I can afford the mental bandwidth to think about like, okay, how do you actually paint the car? Like I know a little bit, but I haven't like figured out the logistics for my own car. I just know that I will rent a paint booth. That's literally all I know actually is that I will rent a paint booth. That's the only logistic I have figured out. But yeah, can't believe it's been 2 hours. Me too. I did not expect to go this long. I didn't also think people would be here. So that is kind of crazy and really fun, honestly. Can't believe it's been 2 years. Tell someone. Yeah, me too. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, throw your comments in last minute if you want. If you want to support this channel and help make my creative dreams happen and just help this channel grow and make it more sustainable, you can join my Patreon. I think it's linked in the description. You can join it for $2 a month. So I post a lot of behind the scenes stuff. So like everything you've seen here, I have been I've recorded, I don't know, 10 or 12 videos here and pulled the engine out and put it back in and got halfway through the supercharger already and put mods on. I put like motor mounts, coolant reroute, aluminum radiator, it goes on and on, oil cooler. I post all of that on my Patreon first and with like a full detailed write-up of what's going on and just kind of sharing that. And then once in a while I also share like little videos kind of like this where it's like in a Patreon exclusive video where I like will walk you around the garage and just like give you a one-to-one update of like, hey, like let me just show you like what's going on. I got a couple of these parts. I'm thinking about doing this, stuff like that. And sometimes I've also shared actual clips of rough drafts of upcoming videos. So like this repair video I posted, I think at like one of the montages, like a 2-minute montage. I shared that like a few weeks ago on there and I was like, hey, here is the video and here's what it's kind of turning out to be. I'll post stuff like that all the time, but you can get in at $2 a month and it makes a big difference in like making this whole hobby sustainable as I figure out how to actually like grow the channel. But yeah, either way, I appreciate all the support, even like the comments especially. My mom reads the comments in my videos, my parents do. So it's very interesting for them to come to me and be like, yo, we saw those comments, like that's so funny, or like that looked really like you have like really good people supporting you, like that's just really cool. So either way, like it goes a long way. And then also I appreciate everyone who's stuck around for the last year, because I first talked about this wreck a year ago and then I haven't talked about this. Life got in the way. I got really burnt out at work, and then in summer, right before I worked on the car, I like sprained this thumb really badly by picking up a radiator like this and like overstretching it. And so my hand was out of commission for like a month or two, and that really sucked. And even now it's not perfect. But yeah, so it has been eating at me that I haven't been able to like put out the content I wanted. So if it bothered you that I didn't post in a year, believe me, I was way sadder about it than anyone else. So I really appreciate the people that have like stuck around, have been commenting about it. So yeah, it has been quite a journey. And that particular repair video was the most special video I've ever made, and potentially the most meaningful or special creative project I've ever done. I put a shit ton of effort into that. Of course, repairing it is one thing, but like trying to get that video the way I wanted it, trying to tell the story how I wanted it, and trying to get that edit to be like as perfect as I wanted it took a lot of effort. And I'm really happy with how it came out. And I'm really happy that like it's resonating with people, because I was scared of like, oh, what if I put in all this effort and it doesn't come across, or I didn't do it right. So I've been very, very happy that like at this point, I don't care how many views it gets. I'm just happy that people are looking at that and like, that's good. I'm like, they get what I'm trying to share. So yeah, that video means a lot to me. The future videos will be kind of a mix. I have a lot of new ideas planned where I'm going to be doing a little bit of variety of stuff. Is my phone going to die? No. I want to do a couple of different things where I have like a couple of talking videos sharing a couple of interesting stories or interesting things I've been learning about as I'm getting into this journey farther, like 3D printing, and like realizing like, oh, whoa, this is actually really handy no matter your actual skill level with CAD. And then I really think I should probably take the channel outside the garage more. So, like the idea to like daily drive the car for a week and then take you along with that. So I have a couple ideas like that planned out. And then I'm going to be experimenting a little bit more with all of those with different styles, because like not every video is gonna be like a 36-minute like emotional like vlog, you know? But also like I don't think I've ever made like a hardcore emotional vlog. I don't know what to call that because it's not like a old school vlog. It's, I guess, like a more developed vlog of like what the video I put out, whatever you would classify that as. That's the first time I think I've really done anything like that. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, so we'll see how it goes. I'm just trying out a couple of different stuff, but I'm really excited for what's to come. Yeah, and I've been like itching to share that welding stuff because I recorded that. You can actually see I recorded that early October because when I wrote that little note under, I think I wrote October 8th. You know, so I've been like sitting on that footage and on that repaired car for about a month and a half now, just like trying to get everything done. And then of course, dude, like the engine work, like I changed the head gasket in this car. So I got pretty deep into disassembling it. I had the oil pan off and the head gasket off. So I went pretty far. I'm excited to share what that was like because that was whack. That was really fun, but it was like kind of wild to have the engine in like pieces. But yeah, can't wait. What were you saying here? Subscribed. Hell yeah. Once I stop being unemployed, dude, no obligation. I've seen your name around. I've like talked with you for about a bit. I just appreciate the support. You can make an account for like one-time donations, buy me. That's a good idea. You can actually do one-time donations on like in like comment sections. There's like ways, I don't know what they call it, but like that is actually a thing built into YouTube now. But I might just make that if it's more intuitive. I agree about the monthly subscription, absolutely. Personally, I would watch anything, appreciate it, as long as it's car related. Growing the channel, you can try pushing shorts more. Yeah, I've been thinking about it. It's just a lot of effort to like, it's a lot of split focus. So I definitely want to do a little bit more shorts, but like my heart is in long form and I feel like I'm much better at long form because I like to make more in-depth, interesting videos. So I'm trying to figure out how to split my focus enough. But yeah, that's kind of like my thought on that. Yeah. Any last questions? I'm going to log off for real, I promise. Well, I appreciate all the support, everyone. Like, this is huge. If you want to support this channel, I got the Patreon linked in every single description of every video and probably this thing. But either way, love y'all's support, and I'll see you in the next video and the next live, which will definitely be more frequently. See y'all. Take care.